Hello everyone, my name is David. Today we are going to explain a movie named Jango, released in 2021. So sit with some popcorns, relax and enjoy this thriller drama movie. So, at the beginning of the movie, we see an asteroid heading towards Earth. As soon as NASA and other space centers find out about the asteroid, they start studying it. The next day is shown, and the date is in October. Everywhere, people are talking about how the asteroid is rapidly approaching Earth. During this time, in a park, we see a girl named Nisha, who is jogging. By profession, Nisha is a reporter. Here, a man sees Nisha and calls his friend Gautam, telling him, "Hey man, Nisha is here, come quickly." Now, speaking of Gautam, he is a neurosurgeon, which means he is a doctor. We will learn more about his and Nisha's story as we go along, but for now you should know that Gautam loves Nisha very much. When Gautam comes here and tries to talk to Nisha, she ends up scolding him and walks away. All the news channels are talking about the asteroid. Even the channel Nisha works for has invited a scientist named Michael to discuss it. Nisha asks Michael, "What do you want to say about the asteroid that is heading towards Earth? Is there any danger to us?" Michael replies that at the speed this asteroid is moving towards Earth, it will break into small pieces as it approaches. For now, it doesn't seem to pose any threat, but it's hard to say for sure. The next day begins, which is October 2nd. Gautam wakes up at 7 a.m. to find his maid at the door with groceries. While working, the maid accidentally breaks a plate, but Gautam doesn't say anything to her. Then Gautam gets a call from his mother, who says, "Son, how long will you keep living in the past? You should get married." Gautam replies, "Mom, you know I never want to talk about this. Please hang up for now. I need to go to the hospital." A while later, Gautam leaves for the hospital in his car. On the way, a drunk man suddenly appears in front of his car and starts pretending to have been hit. Since Gautam is in a hurry, he gives the man some money to quickly get rid of him and continues on his way. Just then, Gautam receives a call from the hospital. It turns out that he needs to operate on a girl who came from Pakistan. If the surgery isn't done, the poor girl will die, and her condition is very critical at this moment. Gautam tells the staff, "Start preparing for the surgery. I'm on my way." At the hospital, another doctor named Ramesh, who is jealous of Gautam, says, "Why is Gautam always given the important surgeries?" Meanwhile, Gautam arrives, and the surgery begins. It is successful. He then tells his staff to keep the girl under observation for half an hour. Notably, everyone leaves the operating theater except Ramesh. Additionally, Gautam is about to receive the Best Doctor of the Year award, and for this reason, he is invited to Nisha's news channel, where, coincidentally, Nisha herself interviews him. After the interview, Gautam tries to talk to Nisha, but as usual, she ignores him and leaves. Poor Gautam starts reminiscing about the past. When Nisha and Gautam first met, Gautam fell in love with her at first sight. They quickly became friends, and fate brought Nisha's parents to propose Gautam for marriage. Nisha agreed, thinking that Gautam was her friend and would understand her aspiration to become a prominent news reporter. After the wedding, Nisha becomes so engrossed in her work that she neither gives time to Gautam nor his family. Although she had made it clear to Gautam before the marriage that her primary focus would be on her career as a news reporter, over time, their disagreements escalated, leading to frequent fights. Eventually, Nisha and Gautam separated. After thinking about all these things, Gautam goes home. On the way, he learns that the girl he operated on has died. Gautam is puzzled because the operation was successful, so he wonders how she could have died. This makes him very sad because his life was already filled with sorrow, and now it has become even more so. To cheer him up, Gautam's friend Kitty brings two other people over to his house. They have a drinking party, and then Gautam goes to sleep. In the night, he gets a call from the hospital saying that a woman is in a very serious condition. Upon hearing this, Gautam leaves immediately, but his car breaks down on the way. Just then, he sees the same asteroid in the sky, which turns into a bright light, and as soon as he sees it, the scene cuts to the morning. Gautam wakes up in his home. His clock shows 7 a.m. His maid knocks on the door. She has brought vegetables and other items. Gautam finds this very strange. A little later, the maid breaks a plate in the same way. Seeing this, Gautam says to her this time, "Hey, how many plates are you going to break every day?" In response, the maid says, "Sir, this is the first time I've broken one." "Have I ever broken one before?" Then Gautam gets a call from his mother. Friends, the one that happened first, tells Gautam again to get married, and Gautam irritably tells his mother, "Please, Mom, don't keep talking about this every day. I need to leave now. I already gave you an answer yesterday." And now Gautam's mom also says to him, "Son, when did I talk to you yesterday? We haven't spoken for a week, and you're saying it was yesterday." Now, friends, this thing seems quite strange to Gautam again. He then goes outside, meaning he leaves for the hospital, and during this time a drunkard comes in front of his car again, whom Gautam immediately pays off and leaves for the hospital. There, he has to perform the surgery on the same Pakistani girl he operated on before. "Oh my God, this is all repeating." Gautam says, "Hey, I just operated on her yesterday, and you guys told me later that she had died." They tell Gautam, "No sir, today is the day of her surgery." Oh friends, do you understand what's happening here? Right now, Gautam has to undergo his operation. Then he is told to stay in observation for half an hour. After that, he goes to give an interview to Nisha. Then his friends come to Gautam's house to drink. Gautam tells them, "Dude, I feel like I'm living the same day twice." To which Kitty says to him, "Bro, that's called déjà vu. You must be experiencing déjà vu. Anyway, it's almost 12 o'clock. Next morning, Gautam wakes up at 7 a.m. again. Then all the same things start happening with him. Gautam is living the same day repeatedly. How is that possible? This time, Gautam tells his maid, "Will you keep doing the same thing every day?" And then Gautam also hits that drunkard this time. He now do something different and also helps some people. We won't go into detail about that thing. Let's focus on the main story. Tomorrow, when Gautam lives the same day again, he meets a scientist named Franklin. Gautam says to Franklin, "Sir, I am living the same day repeatedly. How is this happening? Please help me. If you don't do everything today, I'll have to explain it to you again tomorrow." Franklin tells him, "You're stuck in a time loop, son. I'm working on this with someone else. You go now, and as soon as I get that project ready, I'll call you in, and you can explain everything to me again." Franklin meets with Michael outside, who are both discussing a project named Jango. Now, what is Jango? Further, we will know about it. After that, Gautam considers this thing his destiny and begins to live that day repeatedly. When he watches a news on TV, he learns that a UFO was spotted somewhere in the city, causing a crowd to gather and scientists from around the world to arrive at that UFO spot. At this point, Gautam understands that what he saw as an asteroid was actually a UFO, and it's due to the radiation emitted from it that Gautam is stuck in a loop. Later, Gautam watches another news that someone shoot Nisha outside the office, and she's admitted to the hospital. Upon seeing this, Gautam immediately heads to the hospital. During that time, it strikes 12 hours, and the day resets from there. The next day, Gautam wakes up again at 7 a.m. He has to save Nisha, no matter how. So, he quickly goes to her office to meet her and tries to explain everything to her. He also tells her that her life is in danger, but Nisha doesn't believe him at all. Gautam stays outside her office all day, and when Nisha begins to leave at night, he tries to stop her. Just then, two boys come on a bike, shoot Nisha, and run away, causing this Nisha dies there. At 12 the day resets again, and this time Gautam goes to Nisha's office to try and find out who could possibly have a problem big enough to kill Nisha. Gautam waits outside Nisha's office again, and when she comes out in her car, Gautam follows her again. As soon as the biker approaches Nisha's car to kill her, Gautam hit the biker with his car and also beats him up severely. Then Gautam asks him, "Who sent you here, and why do you want to kill Nisha?" Gautam was asking him all these things when suddenly another guy comes on a bike and kills Nisha and runs away, meaning this Gautam will have to save Nisha again. The day resets again. The next day, Gautam goes to Nisha's office and asks her co-worker if Nisha has recently undertaken any sting operations or missions that could endanger her life. The colleague says that there had been a series of kidnappings of girls from a particular area in the city. Many girls had also gone missing from there. So that night, Nisha went to that place as well, where some goons had kidnapped her. Nisha had hidden cameras, microphones, and a tracker around her, so she records everything, and, while tracking her, Nisha's team reaches there with the police, where, apart from Nisha, there were many other girls, and after freeing all of them, the police catch those goons. After the office hours today, Gautam waits outside the office. Nisha's boss, upon seeing him, says, "Your interview ended quite a while ago. What are you still doing here?" Gautam replies, "Actually, my car won't start and there seems to be something wrong with it." Hearing this, Nisha's boss sends Gautam with Nisha in the office car, which is being driven by a driver. Just then, two bikers start following their car. Seeing this, Gautam tells the driver to speed up. After a short chase, one of the bikers comes in front of their car and kills the driver, Nisha, and Gautam. Now Gautam has also died. But his day resets every day at 12 ta, and everything starts repeating again. The next day, Gautam goes to meet Franklin again and explains everything to him. He says, "Sir, I feel like I'm stuck in this loop because of UFO radiation." Franklin replies, "I'm working on the technology to send that UFO away from here before it arrives." After this, Gautam goes straight to his friend Kitty, who is a police officer. Kitty initially doesn't believe Gautam's words, but when Gautam tells him that he will come to his house shortly with two other people, then Kitty starts to believe. Gautam says, "I've lived this day nearly 9 times, and there's someone who wants to kill Nisha. Each time I try to save her, but I fail. But I've memorized the number plate of their bikes. Please help me track them." Soon, Kitty begins tracing the bikes and catches 2 people. And when Kitty thoroughly questions them, they give him a number saying, "This man has given us a contract to kill Nisha and has only spoken to us on the phone." And friends, the number that those people give him belongs to a man named Rajesh. Rajesh is actually Nisha's co-worker, and when he sees Gautam approaching him, he immediately tries to run away. However, Gautam manages to catch him. Then Rajesh tells him, "Some people broke into my house one day. They caught my wife and children, and then they started asking details about Nisha, like what time she comes to the office, what time she leaves, and so on. They threatened the lives of my wife and children, so I told them everything. Then those people took my mobile and left. They must have hired goons through that to try to kill Nisha. I have no involvement in this." And now, to save Nisha in the night, Kitty arrests her and puts her in his car. Gautam is also in this car. As soon as they get into the car, some police officers come in front of their car. They shoot Gautam, Kitty, and Nisha with bullets. Then, at 12 to us, their day resets. Gautam wakes up exactly at 7 quickly gets ready, and goes to Nisha's office to meet her. Then he becomes emotional and tells her everything, explains everything with love that's happening with him, and says, "I don't want to lose you. I can't risk losing you. I have to keep saving you until the loop ends." And this time Nisha understands his words, and she forgives Gautam when he apologizes, and both of them become friends again from here. Gautam asks Nisha, "Do you remember who could kill you?" But Nisha doesn't remember anything. She doesn't suspect anyone. Currently, when Gautam leaves the office, he sees a car that belongs to Michael, and that car is always around Gautam in every loop, which is quite strange. It means that Michael is somehow following him. Gautam becomes suspicious of him. After finding out Michael's secret location, Gautam goes there with Nisha, where various strange devices are kept. There, on a board, events from different days with Gautam are written. It means that Michael was planning all this. Now, Michael wasn't here, so Gautam and Nisha start going together, but Michael's men kidnap them on the way. Then, both are brought to a deserted place, where Michael immediately shoots Nisha without wasting time. Then he says, "Gautam, despite failing many times, You are still trying to save Nisha. It's written in her fate, believe me. Actually, Michael is working on making an artificial heart, which he has already made, but he needs some people for testing. Therefore, he started kidnapping girls so that he could conduct his test, and the police would understand it as a case of women trafficking and continue to work in a different direction. This way, no suspicion would come towards him. That was his plan. Many girls died because of his test, but Michael didn't stop. Then one day, Nisha busted Michael's gang through a sting operation. The police started looking for him and seized that place as well. Nisha had gathered plenty of evidence against Michael, which she was going to give to the IG. That night, when the UFO arrived here, Michael got Nisha killed and confirmed this on a bridge at night. But then he saw the UFO and began to be the same with Michael that was happening with Gautam. He started living the same day over and over again, and each time he started doing the same thing. And now Michael says that's why I keep getting Nisha killed, because I knew this loop would end eventually and then Nisha would die for sure. And in the meantime, I found out about you being stuck in the same loop too. So I started keeping an eye on you as well. You were trying to save Nisha, and I was killing her. And at the same time, I was working with Franklin on a device named Jango. I kept changing the equation of that device every day, and today it's ready, which I will activate today and UFO will go back. By doing this loop will finally end, and I will succeed in my mission. Upon hearing this, Gautam snatches the gun from Michael's man and shoots Michael. In response, Michael also shoots him. This way, both of them die and the day resets. Michael arrives quickly with his men at Gautam's house this time, where he had already left. He explains everything to Kitty again over the phone. Gautam goes straight from here to Franklin and tells him the truth about Michael, how he is using you. Gautam also tells Franklin, activate the Jango device at any cost today, and remember, in no way should this fall into Michael's hands. Franklin rushes home with Jango so that he can't be found by Michael. Meanwhile, Michael had kidnapped Nisha, whom Gautam somehow tracks down. Just as Gautam is about to free her, Michael arrives and shoots Nisha first. Seeing this, Gautam impales Michael with an iron rod. At this point, just before dying, Michael says, only if this day resets can you save Nisha. That's why it's crucial for this day to reset. In response, Gautam says, with the end of this loop, your end will also surely come. As for Nisha, I will save her at any cost. I am a neurosurgeon. With these words, he inserts the rod into Michael's abdomen, causing his death. Then Gautam quickly rushes Nisha to the hospital and begins her operation. On the other hand, Franklin had to activate the Jango device UFO before 12 pass. Gautam doesn't have much time, so he is also under a lot of tension. He will have to do anything to save Nisha in time. Franklin activates the Jango device here as soon as the UFO arrives, emitting a light that collides with the UFO, causing it to retreat. The next day, when Gautam wakes up, his maid is at the door, telling him, "Sir, I couldn't find any vegetables today." Gautam quickly rushes to the hospital. There he realizes that it is a new day and the loop has ended. Gautam sees that Nisha's life has been saved and she is out of danger. At the same time, during this period, Gautam receives a call from his friend Kitty, who tells him that they did not find Michael's body at that location. And as soon as this is said, the scene shifts to the other side, and we see that Michael's body has been taken away by his people, and they transplant an artificial heart made for Michael into his body, and as soon as it is applied, Michael's eyes open. Meaning, he has come back to life, which he will surely try to take revenge on Gautam and Nisha, but this thing will be shown to us in the next part of the movie. So you also wait, we too. If you liked the video, like it, subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video. Take care of yourself, and finally, thanks for watching.